if you've seen my full album breakdown of Career Suicide, I think by the end of that album, I was like, Brian, I'm on to you. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Low End University. Born a Wise Man is from a WILHELM Scream's fourth studio album, Partycrasher, released in 2013. And I guess the band didn't release anything for 6 years because this was the very next album to release after 2007's Career Suicide, which I reviewed in full over on Patreon. And I think that one still stands the test of time so far as one of the wildest bass-focused albums I think I've ever heard, even outside of punk rock. It's just brilliant. And if you haven't seen my top 5 punk bass riffs video from last year, spoiler alert, I did rank their song The Horse at number 1. But I have yet to hear anything outside of that album yet, and fortunately for me that changes today, as our Patreon community voted this track in second place last month, and I want to shout out our patrons Drew Corrier and Jay Reed over there for requesting this track. But before we start, I have to shout out their bassist Brian Robinson, a total sweetheart who has connected with me a few times online, and I just wanted to say that a big part of the reason I bought this StingRay as well is because of hearing his bass tone on Career Suicide. Yes, I think it was Roger Lima and Less Than Jake that pushed me over the edge, but hearing Career Suicide really kind of converted me to loving the StingRay sound. So shout out to you, Brian. I got a StingRay. But without further ado, let's check out Born a Wise Man from a WILHELM Scream. No good real place to stop with their music. I've learned that quickly reviewing that album. But also, when I think back to hearing Career Suicide, I feel like all the bass was in drop D. Maybe even the guitars too, but I had a suspicion this one might be as well, especially if it's the very next album. So I'm going to get down into his ballpark the best I can. But it's pretty futile to follow along and catch these riffs in real time as I'm hearing them. But I'm going to do my best. It is based around D minor, using and pedaling on that open low D. So kind of in that area. And what I like is that he used those low, almost to the point of sounding not good, power chords on bass. And I've talked about this in other videos where, you can play a power chord on bass. You can play chords on bass. A lot of people think you can't for some reason. You just have to kind of know where it starts to give back diminishing returns. They obviously sound good up here. When you start getting down here, you can tell they start to rub. So when you find that sweet spot, which has a lot to do with your bass, your tone, or the rest of the mix, it really adds a weighty meatiness to the mix just from the bass chords. And it's really good to use in the absence of the kick and the snare drum to kind of fill out that sonic space a bit. So great intuition by Brian to start the song kind of with these. And some little kind of run. Something like that. I'm going to go back into the beginning and just hear what that was. But really cool setup. And once it gets going, I mean, it's just crazy riffing. Very technical. I am so surprised a band like this really is hailed by the punk community and just is pitched to me early on and was as a punk rock band. Because this is, again, I can't say it enough, not a sound I would expect. And these guys are incredible musicians. Brian is an incredibly talented bass player. Holy shit. And I know this song is going to be no shortage of that. So love this band. Huge favorite already. Okay. Yeah, down here on the low B flat. And then kind of thing there. A little nice. Okay. It's tough to follow. Catching the little guitar runs. no idea what it is, but it's just jumping up, adding a lot of energy, going in unison with those little parts. Awesome. God, that's so good. Okay, I got to go back and hear this last 15 seconds. The bass is just climbing and descending, just going all over the neck. And if you've seen my full album breakdown of Career Suicide, I think by the end of that album, I was like, Brian, I'm on to you. He does this thing a lot where he groups notes in groups of threes, and it adds a cool syncopation. And he's kind of still doing that here, but it's a really signature thing about the way he climbs and does those bass runs. In a straight time, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, when you put a bass, arpeggio or something over it in groups of three, you get kind of a hemiola, but it's not too rhythmically distracting to feel off, but it's just, it adds like some syncopation. So I guess if an example would be, if you can hear my foot, he kind of goes, that kind of thing. So it just gives a bit of dimension rhythmically to his lines. And I think this whole little 15-second part I'm about to rewind was chock full of that. Kind of going up on that G minor, gets a bit halftime in the drums. Ooh, it just settles into such a fat groove right here. Really technical. Woo! That's so good. And not to zoom in too much, I want to get through the song, but I'm going to go back and hear that part again before it, because you can kind of hear that kind of doing what those little guitar runs were doing before it, but the guitar isn't now. And it's like he's kind of keeping that energy going, calling back to it in the bass line. Okay, one more time, we'll keep rolling, but I was afraid there's going to be so much cool bass nuance happening. It's hard to skip over any of it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 right here. Right there. That's tough not to stop. I'm going to skip over it. Just so many cool things happening. Like he'll go up and ride out on the minor third, even though the chord has stayed on G. So a lot of this. Kind of hold up there, even though the chord is still down here on the G. So in a way, kind of inverting it, but just being really bold, adventurous with the bass parts. Let's keep going out of that section. Wow. Right there. Why play along? I don't know. Why am I doing this? Okay, same part as earlier. It feels intentional because sometimes when bass players do these really cool runs, they don't ever come back in the song. So it leads me to believe maybe it was just kind of improvised on the spot, or maybe it was re-recorded after the fact, But when the same thing happens multiple times, it's this really conscious part of the bass line, because as bass players, we tend to ad-lib and change things and not really repeat things when it comes to the frillier side of bass playing, if you will, the fills and such. So I'm very keen to hear bass fills that repeat almost note for note, because it was very thought out and it seemed like it has a place in the mix. So that same big exaggerated ascension on G minor there, right where I'm paused, is the one I was highlighting earlier, the whatever that is. So loved hearing that come back. Gives a sense of familiarity to the technical bass parts. They don't just sound random and too spastic. There's some method behind the madness. Just love nothing. Did I hear a low C there? Should I have gone lower? Are we lower than drop D? Right here. Sounded more like that, doesn't it, right here? Maybe so. I'm gonna stick in drop D so I'm not throwing this thing out of whack too much. Okay, there we go. Man, vocals sound pissed. I feel like I'm always a little bit behind on how their chords are changing. It's just so jerky and just technical stuff. This is one of those ones where you just want to jump in and play along with it, but it's too hard because I don't know what I don't know. And he's adding a lot of technicality in the bass parts when there really doesn't even need to be any because the song's so technical. So that's what I love about him, the way he just keeps elevating parts with movement. As the chord progression happens there, it's not moving as quick as it sounds, and that's largely in part of the way he's kind of hitting a root note, going up on a run, hitting a root note, ascending, hitting a root note, ascending. So it's giving all that movement, and then the guitars will just jump right in when he stops and do another little run. And I haven't even commented on the hard panned leads here. It's just dual guitar harmony heaven. Little melodies happening. I mean, there's just so much happening to even comment on as far as they go, but they're adding a lot of melodic energy. Little things on the left channel over here, just little, just coming and going. Just keeping it lively. I mean, I come from progressive metal, so I'm just eating this stuff up. Perfect band for me to find. Have to thank you guys. And I've hardly heard any of their music. One album and now this one song, so. Woo! Is that a flat major 2? Some kind of cluster chord thing? I don't know. Gotta hear that again. That kind of sound, all minor thirds. That's a little diminished arpeggio. You just keep going up minor thirds. Really tense sound. I think Brian jumped in on bass and did something around it. Let me hear that again. Before I do that, there's another low G power chord going down real low and getting this sound. I heard that. I would never even go on that low, but he's getting away with it. It's got that, it's like when you mash notes really low on a grand piano. Like you can hear an interval, but it's not super pretty. So I heard that one. And he popped the note or something. Right there. Third time that little, I'm not going to say little because it's pretty long and pretty big, this G minor ascension that's really exaggerated. Again, it sounds like there's more chord movement happening there than there really is because of what he's doing on bass. If you listen to it, the guitars are just down there, just... And he's doing the... Thankfully, it's happened 3 times. And enjoy it 3 times. Right here. Keep your eye out for the real thing. It's all Love it. 4 times. Yes. Whew. There wasn't really a great opportunity to comment on the beautiful production as well. Just the tones. That's a great mix. There's a lot of metal mixes, metal production, hard rock, heavy metal, punk rock productions that sound like that are polished, but the bass is just so relegated to this rounding out the sound of the guitars thing, which I can't stand. I love these types of mixes where the bass has a clear place in the sonic spectrum. It's not too loud, but it's not buried either. And I can hear all the movement really well, just kind of simmering along in the low mids there. And I think that's what really, the aspects of his tone that really made me fall in love with the StingRay. It has a warmness to it because oftentimes in these heavier genres, it's very easy to do what I typically do is pull some of the bass out of the tone because there's so much double kick and stuff. You just want to kind of let those guys have it and focus more on the mid-range. That's why I got into the Warwick bass tones, but they can be kind of thin, but they're great at that tone. I find this is the best one. It has that grittiness on top, that kind of... So it still cuts through when you go higher, but it has that warm low end that still has a lot of separation. This is a pretty basic patch. I mean, you're basically hearing just an amp and a cab block and some EQ, so it sounds very natural. I'd be curious to know what his signal chain, but yeah, to talk about the song, I mean, it's exactly what I expected it to be. A Wilhelm scream, technical. I got to pick a song out and do a cover here. I need to do more covers here on the channel. I know I keep saying that, but thank you guys over on Patreon for finally letting me hear something outside of career suicide. This was a great song, the very next album, and you guys know by now, this is going to go on a full album poll. If you want to be a part of this and support the channel further, please come find us over on Patreon, patreon.com/LoneUniversity. We review albums each month over there, just like this video, but they're a lot longer and they're 10 times as fun. And please subscribe to the channel if you're not already. It really helps me out. I love you all. We'll see you in the next one.